What's going on, guys? In today's video I'm talking about some foldable phones from Apple and Samsung. Now this is probably going to be the next interesting thing that we see in the smartphone industry. Foldable displays and the possibility that both sides of the phone would have a display as well. I'm reading that Samsung and even Apple are trying to get these patents, or have already gotten some patents, where they can manufacture these kind of phones. What it tells me is that Apple is trying to really manufacture phones that are as impressive as the Galaxy phones, and even Samsung is out there trying to manufacture these phones before Apple. It's the one advantage Samsung has because they manufacture their own phones and you don't have to get these parts to the phone from other companies. And what I expect from Apple is to see what Samsung manufactures and then go ahead and try to innovate with a phone that could have a flexible display. If you're not familiar with some of the flexible displays that Samsung has worked on from years ago, you can find that on YouTube and you can see some of the innovations that they have with just flexible display technology. It is very impressive. Now for them to go from that to even a smartphone, what they're saying is that this would not be their flagship phone. And to see what people would think about it, because this is going to be something very different from anything Samsung has manufactured before. Of course, we can look at some renderings here. You're seeing a flexible display that could be similar to what a flip phone was in a certain way, but let's think about this. Some of the technical issues with this phone would be, of course, unlocking the phone. How quick can you unlock the phone? Because if you have to unfold the phone and then it unlocks, that is another step. So you have to think about this. You want to use your phone. It could unlock. But if you flip the phone out and it still has to recognize your face, or even with a sensor so you can unlock your phone, there should be some kind of mechanism where you can unlock your phone without even flipping the phone open. I think that would be one of the best ideas. So let's think about even the iPhone X. The iPhone X has an issue. There's a missing portion of the screen. I talked about that a lot when I talk about the iPhone X. But when we talk about that iPhone X, one way to resolve that issue, if you did have a phone that folds, the sensors can be on the outside. And that way if somebody holds the phone, they can unlock their phone, then flip the phone open, and then you can use the phone. I think that would be an impressive idea. Not only could that allow you to move all those sensors to the front of the phone, you have a better capability of having complete screens to the phone, which I also think is a great idea. As far as Samsung and what they can do, I think with the Galaxy Note 8 was an impressive phone, but of course with the sensor in the back of the phone right next to the camera lens, I thought that was an issue. I would say this with a flexible display though, for either phone, if Apple manufactures this or Samsung, but I think Samsung again is going to manufacture it first. If you put two phones next to each other and you just flip them out, I don't think that's impressive, and I don't think Samsung's going to do that. I think the flexible display has to be almost seamless, so when you unfold the phone, it's not so noticeable. Now, if Samsung is already talking about having a two-sided phone or two sides to the display, think about this. You can close the phone, then you have sensors on the front of the phone and even a display there, so you can get notifications. I just think there's a lot of possibilities with this. If a company like Samsung could manufacture the phone in a very impressive way, and they have some of the best display technology out there, you're going to see a fantastic phone. I think one of the better ideas is to see some kind of hinge has to be there, but not noticeable, not on the outside. It could just be within the phone. So if you have another display there, it's something that someone wouldn't see. If you just have a hinge there and it's going to look old school because you can have two phones that just flip and the casing is going to look ridiculous, I don't think that's a good idea. And I actually think that Apple is probably waiting to see what Samsung manufactures, like I was talking about, and they're going to improve those designs as well. Then you're going to have Samsung that tries to improve the phone also. So with the talk about the Galaxy X, interesting ideas, foldable display, could it have additional sensors on the outside, could it be two-sided display? I mean, there's a lot of possibilities with the phone. I actually think that if Samsung gets that right and enough people are interested, then they're going to improve the phone that much more. I think they're going to do that regardless, but it's going to be interesting to see how many people want to purchase that phone at first. And again, this is why Apple waits for another company to manufacture these kind of phones, because it's a different type of phone. No other company has manufactured something like this before, and Samsung is a company that's going to lead again in this industry and try to explain to people why they would want to purchase a phone like that. Now, what they're also going to do, and this is from what I'm reading, is that they're going to have the other Galaxy phones there, but that's because they know people have accepted those phones already. You know, Samsung doesn't want to go out there manufacturing phones where they think it's going to be such an issue that makes them look ridiculous. So they have an understanding of what works and also the possibilities on how to change the industry so they can innovate new phones while also having some of the older phones that they've had, like the Galaxy phones. And even with the Infinity display, with the Galaxy S8, S8 Plus, Galaxy Note 8, you know, these designs are impressive when they first implement them. Then we're talking about improvements to the phone. I just think the user experience could be that much more impressive, where you fold out a phone and you have more display than you even had before. Now, another issue I can see with that though is that you have really thin phones these days. If you fold a display, if you fold a phone, people are going to start looking at the size of the phone and of course the weight of it. So that's another issue as well. Then we're talking about battery. Could a normal size battery, because there's improvements with the battery these days, could it be that impressive where you're getting all that display? You have to think about it. You have one phone right now with one display and it uses a lot of battery. Usually the display itself is consuming a lot of battery. That's another comparison that people are going to be looking at, including Samsung, who's manufacturing their phones, and of course Apple, who's designing the phones, but looking at other manufacturers with the way they can implement this in a normal way. Because if you have too large of a battery, if you don't have enough battery for a phone like this, yes, the displays could be interesting, but then you have the issue with using too much battery for a smartphone, and that's not good because everyone wants a great battery on their phone. Now let's also think about the camera lenses. The more display that you have, there is a possibility you could be able to include more camera lenses on the back of the phone. You can put the speaker somewhere else. Again, with Apple and the iPhone X, you don't have to have a missing portion of the screen. And then you're talking about a company like Samsung, who just has this infinity display that looks fantastic, and they could put the sensors on the outside of the phone if they want to. So I think the idea of the flexible display and having an infinity display similar to what you see with the Galaxy S8, the S8 Plus, or the Galaxy Note 8, or even a display similar to the LG V30, with a fantastic display and a foldable display where you have a larger phone, I think it's a great idea. But I'd like to know what you guys think about all of this. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think about some of these foldable phone ideas from Apple and Samsung. And of course, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.